Hey guys, Ramsey here. Welcome to another video. Today we've got a This Is Not a Top 10 video, and it's going to be on the note of musks. Now, if you've been following my channel, you know yesterday I did a ranked top 10 video of my favorite perfumes that use real musk in them, which is a big rarity nowadays just because so many houses nowadays have gone to the synthetics. Some of them claim ethical reasons, some of them mostly though, the houses I think have done it for sustainability and the ability to kind of recreate the fragrance and have it smell the same every single time. When you work with real musk, sometimes you get variations if you get different musk pods and stuff like that, but the smell of real musk is almost divine, heavenly, otherworldly. It's something that's very hard to describe. If you want to learn more about it and the animal that it comes from, check out my video from yesterday. Today it's going to be a different type of video because yesterday some people were a little shocked it was only a top 10, or it was a top 10, but that's just because there were only 10 fragrances in my collection that had real musk in them. And actually I did leave one out. I think there was a Bortnikoff that's called Chypre du Nord, and that uses real deer musk too that I did not include. I had a full bottle of that. But yes, this is going to be perfumes in my collection that do not use real musk, or I don't think they do. If there is one in here that uses real musk, I apologize, but I'm pretty sure most of these are synthetic musks, which there's absolutely nothing wrong with. My good friend Russian Adam actually sent me some real synthetic deer musk, and it smells beautiful. It smells divine. I smell it in some of these perfumes, actually. You can pick it out almost easier than the real thing. But yeah, so this video is going to be a top 50. So this is going to be an old school Ram video. I hope you got your seatbelt on. And before we get into the top 50 countdown, and this is going to be ranked, so these are going to be my favorite musk fragrances that do not use real musk. And so let's go through these, but first we're going to do Scent of the Day, as is customary on Channel Ram. And Scent of the Day today is actually a vintage perfume that gets very little talk in the vintage community. I think it deserves much more talk. I actually sent it to my good friend Rich Mitch across the pond today and told him to start hunting his bottle now, my friend. This is called Jean-Marc Jean-Marc Sinac, and this is called Version Originale. And this is actually the vintage version of Version Originale. And the way that you can tell, you can see his signature right there. But the way you can tell is that the vintage version has this gold right here. The new bottles are all black. So they don't have this gold 80s. This came out in 1984. This is a fragrance that came out a year before I was born. But it is a beautiful, instantly one of my favorite lavender perfumes that I've ever smelled. It has this, it starts off with this very musky, spicy. Actually, this could be on the musk list, but since it's my scent of the day, I didn't include it. But this could almost be like a +1 on the list if you would like. And so it opens up kind of spicy, woody, musky, and then comes this dark lavender, almost like you're standing in a lavender field and these, dark clouds are coming overhead. The mood kind of darkens with this 80s, very 80s feel of the ingredients. There's old school carnation, the way that the notes kind of fly together, come together, really feels like you're smelling a fragrance from the 80s. Someone made the joke that VO, it doesn't stand for Version Originale, it stands for very old or very old school. And, I understand why someone would say that, but for vintage lovers, if you have tastes like I do, this is almost I'm not going to say it's a must buy, but it's a must sniff. Get your nose on it. I think you will be downright impressed, as I am, and I have to thank my good friend Armando for pointing this out to me. Thank you, brother. All right, so let's do a couple, decants, small little pieces here that I don't have full bottles of or that didn't make the list because we either haven't talked about them yet or we've just already recently talked about them and they're just small little decants. The first one is going to be a Creed, and pretty much I guess any Creed could be on this list. I picked a couple to actually be in the top 50 because of the way that the musks are used, but this is one that could easily be on the list because it really just feels like a fresh, citrusy, musky, they list rice flour as a note. It really has this white musk feel, like clean white musk in my head. And it's literally called Creed's Pure white cologne. Now, if you were sniffing this and you had absolutely no idea what line this was in, you might think this is in the Cheap Creed line. It's not. It's actually in the Les Royales Exclusives line. It's in the Royal Exclusives line, which is complete BS to me, but it came out 11 years ago, and it's bergamot, grapefruit, lemon, pear, galbanum, neroli, ambergris, rice flower, and white musks, and it is very beautiful, to be fair. It's very clean and fresh and easy to wear. I'll do a video on it before this little sample is gone, but pure white cologne is the first honorable mention. The second honorable mention is a Chanel. And it's a Chanel, again, I don't own a full bottle of. I never will own a full bottle of this. I'm not a big fan of this fragrance. It's too fresh and sweet and kind of, I don't know. I don't like the way that it dries down. But it's in their designer line, and this is called Chanel Allure Homme Sport Eau Extrême. Okay, so Chanel Allure Homme Sport Eau Extrême is a fragrance that also came out in 2012, same year as Pure White Cologne, interestingly enough. And it's mandarin orange, mint, cypress, clary sage, black pepper, sandalwood, tonka bean, white musk, and cedar. And so my problem with this fragrance is it opens up kind of peppery. Some people say you can get the cypress, and I sort of see what they're saying, but that's kind of probably the best part of the fragrance for me, is that you can pick out a little bit of the cypress and the clary sage. The rest of it, it just kind of dries down to this boring, musky tonka bean thing, and I don't like that at all. So yeah, this is not my taste, but I will review it on the channel one day. Speaking of not my taste, if you are into beast mode fragrances, this is Mancera's Red Tobacco, and this came out in 2017. This is, oh God. This is spicy, sweet, saffron, cinnamon, frankincense, nutmeg, white peach, green apple, Nepalese oud, patchouli, jasmine, tobacco, amber, gaiac wood, woody notes, vetiver, vanilla, and white musk. But my God, this is a beast. Absolute beast this is. You know, if you're into beast mode, last forever on your skin, and sweet type of fragrances, this smells like a Parfums de Marly fragrance to me for some reason. But yes, Red Tobacco by Mancera has a white musk note in the base. And then another Mancera is called Hindu Kush. Now, Hindu Kush came out in 2018, so a year after Red Tobacco. And Hindu Kush is this spicy, smoky for a Mancera. This is actually slightly interesting. It's got spices, labdanum, frankincense, cannabis, patchouli, woody notes. Again, woody notes, that whatever, you know, captive molecule amber woods they're using, with amber, gaiac wood, vanilla, and again, white musks in the base. Some people say this is similar to Elephant by Zoologist. I don't think so at all. Actually, I think Elephant is hands and head and shoulders above Hindu Kush as far as a good fragrance. If they took any cues from Elephant, they did not do it justice. But this is still an okay fragrance for a Mancera. Take with that whatever you will. Okay, next is a Bortnikov. And speaking of Bortnikov, I will let you guys in on a little bit of a secret. A sad secret, but a secret. It's not really a secret because you can find it on Parfumo. But if you go on there now, you'll notice that Oud Monarch is discontinued. Oud Maximus is discontinued in all of its versions. And someone told me that Musk Habib is discontinued. 3 of my all-time favorite Bortnikovs are discontinued. And Rich Mitch actually wrote Dimitri. He has his number. They've been in touch. And he responded and said, yes, unfortunately, it's true. They are discontinued for now. We don't know if we can find the ingredients. If we find the ingredients, we'll try to make the fragrances again in the future. But right now, they're discontinued. I went, ugh. So, you know me, honest Ram. I don't hoard information. I like to share it with you guys, not hoard it. So if you are interested in any of those Bortnikov fragrances, now is the time. You cannot procrastinate. Prices will skyrocket once the news really comes out. Okay, but there is a Bortnikov that is still available for purchase that has a musk note in the base I want to talk about. It's one I have not talked about on the channel yet, and it's actually one I've never smelled yet, and it's called Classica. Now, Classica is a 2021 release, and it has that Bortnikov you know, floral touch that is so interesting. There's orange blossom, May rose, heliotrope, iris in the heart. It opens with bergamot, lemon, and neroli in the top, with sandalwood, frankincense, labdanum, castoreum, birch tar, patchouli, vetiver, rosewood, vanilla, tonka bean, ambergris, and musk. And so I've got probably 4 to 6 Bortnikov samples I have never smelled before. So one of these live streams, if you've been kind of following my live streams that I've been doing in the evenings for USA, mornings for Europe, then this is one that at one point we will do a Bortnikov blind or live, you know, first time impressions, and that will be on the list. And then here's one that I actually really like. This is one of my favorite Zoologist fragrances. I recently did a live sniffing series on the Zoologist sample set, and this came out in 2020. It's called Musk Deer, and that's one of the Musk Deers that they actually have these fangs that they use to kind of scrape the forest floor when they're looking for food. But the male deer has the musk pod, of course, inside of them, and so they will use it to kind of warn other males that they're in their territory or to attract females. That's what the musk pod is kind of used for. And this is cardamom, calamus, rose, jasmine, sambac absolute, patchouli, atlas cedar, labdanum absolute, ambret seed absolute, orris absolute, Laotian oud, and Australian sandalwood. I really like this. They did a fantastic job with the musks here. It is still slightly animalic, and this is done by Pascal Guerin of IFF. Victor Wong was actually in our live stream, the guy that owns Zoologist, and he said that at IFF, Pascal Guerin is known as the king of musks. So they picked the right guy to make Musk Deer. It is a beautiful rendition of a musk, and this is completely synthetic. Well, of course, pretty much all of these are going to be completely synthetic, but, you know, Victor was very adamant that he didn't want any animal byproducts in his perfumes. Okay, next is a new fragrance I have yet to smell. And again, I've got about 4 of these Francesca Bianchis I've yet to smell. So we'll do on our live sniffing one day. One of the highlights will be Francesca Bianchi. We'll smell 4 of her fragrances I've never smelled before. This one's called Unspoken Musk. This is her new one from 2022, from last year. And it's bergamot, immortelle, magnolia, orris butter, as usual. She uses that same orris butter thing you see over and over again. Musk, castoreum, civet, patchouli, sandalwood, cypriol, tonka bean, and vanilla. So Unspoken Musk is an interesting one. And then from the house of Rosendu Matu, rest in peace, he passed away last year. This came out in 2017, and it's called Number 5. And Number 5 has a name, and it's Floral Amber Sensual Musk is the name after the number 5. And this is sweet, spicy, spices and carnations, lily of the valley, vanilla, amber, and musks. So the musk is a big part of this fragrance. One of these days, I'll either make this, you know, part of the live sniffing, or maybe wear this as my scent of the day and kind of do a video on it. But you will hear more about Rosendu Matu Number 5 on the channel at some point. And then we have a fragrance from the house of Tiziana Terenzi, and another one that I'll either make my scent of the day and do a video on it, or put it in the live sniffing in the live stream. And this is called Ladano Noto. And Ladano Noto came out in 2014. It's supposed to be a focus on labdanum, if memory serves, but it's woody, spicy, absinthe, cognac, rosemary, Latakia tobacco, myrtle, black amber, red rose, acacia honey, cedarwood, iris, sandalwood, rosemary, flowering ash, slate, cashmere, camphor tree, frankincense, oud, gumrock rose. That's the gumrock rose is the labdanum, vetiver, musk, oak, bourbon vanilla, bay leaf, and caper. Whew. What a note listing. Kind of excited to try that one. And then we've got a Nishan, and Nishan in 2014 put out a fragrance called Wulong Cha. And Wulong Cha is a citrusy, fresh tea fragrance. There's oolong tea in here with nutmeg, bergamot, orange, tangerine, Lytsea cubiba, which is kind of a white shrub that grows in Asia that perfumers use to kind of extend the citrus note longer into the dry down. Citruses are usually very volatile, and they kind of fly off of the skin very quickly. That Lytsea cubiba note makes it almost like a sleight of hand a little bit. You know, it gives the magician's trick that you're still smelling citruses long into the dry down once they're gone already. And then the base is musk and fig. So I'm kind of excited to try Wulong Cha. And then another one, which I have smelled this one before, but I haven't talked about it on the channel. This is thanks to my good friend Rachel. This is Iris Silver Mist. And this is one of the Iris Silver Mist. There you go. Took a while. Iris Silver Mist is one of the unicorn iris perfumes from Serge Lutens. And I completely see why. It's a beautiful iris. It's cold, it's calculating, it's powdery, it's floral, it's got spices, there's green touches from the galbanum, but the orris root mixed with the musk, mixed with the white amber, gives it this very pale feeling. It's a very pale iris to me. Beautiful though. Love the woody touches from the cedar and sandalwood. There's benzoin and vetiver. It's just a fantastic fragrance. Okay, so let's get started on the top 50. Those were just kind of the honorary mentions. So number 50 is going to be from the house of Nishan, and it is Ani. So Ani, somebody mentioned Ani yesterday in the stream, and they said that Ani is basically vanilla with some more vanilla, topped with a little bit of vanilla. And I know exactly what they mean, and there's some truth to that. Ani is extremely vanillic, extremely vanillic. It's saving grace that sometimes makes me think I don't necessarily hate the fragrance. Is there's this, you know, Cecile Zarokian always kind of puts a little bit of rose in. I noticed there's a lot of fragrances she does where there's just a little bit of rose. Here she's used Turkish rose and Thai ginger, okay? And that combination of Thai ginger, which adds this freshness with the rose, and there's a little bit of fruity blackcurrant in here mixed with the vanilla, sometimes makes the fragrance seem like, you know what, this isn't that bad. But then I'll smell it again. I'll be like, oh, this is way worse than I remember it. And I'll be like, I hate this. Then I'll smell it again and I'll be like, you know what, maybe I was a little too harsh on it. And I go back and forth and back and forth. So yeah, it's probably my least favorite Nishan that I have a full bottle of in my collection, but it deserves a shout out here since there are some musks in the base along with the vanilla. And then number 49 on the list, we have a fragrance from Francis Kirkjohn. So Francis Kirkjohn created this, and actually this was discontinued, okay? So this was discontinued, and it's from the house of Jean-Paul Gaultier, and this is called Gaultier 2. Now this version is discontinued. They just re-released it, like within the last couple months. They re-released Gaultier 2, Gaultier Squared, whatever you want to call it. And I don't know what the new version is like. Okay, I'm completely out of the loop on the new one. But the old one was basically Francis Kirkjohn through and through. Okay, it's his DNA right to the heart. It's amber, musk, and vanilla. Very simple. It almost smells like a icing cupcake. You know, if you want to smell like a cupcake with icing on it, here you go. It's sweet, it's vanillic. But you know, sometimes there is a little bit of this smoky labdanum in the dry down. Apparently, in the new one that they've done, they've added a little bit of jasmine and sandalwood. So that's the addition in the new one. There's no jasmine, no sandalwood in here as far as I'm aware. But yes, I think this would smell good on someone who wants to, probably more feminine traditionally. Women usually like wearing sweeter fragrances. But it's totally unisex. It's just a lot of times I don't want to smell like icing or cupcakes. So, you know, that's kind of relegated to the museum portion of my collection a lot of times, where if I want to reference something, I can grab it at night and spray it. Okay, number 48. Number 48 is a fragrance from the house of Dusita. It's a fragrance from the house of Dusita. And this is called Isara. Now, the presentations of these Dusitas is pretty nice, I must admit. This feels like it's like soft lambskin or something. I don't know what it actually is. It's probably not anything special, but it feels like you're feeling something very soft, you know, like it's sitting in a lambskin box. And here's the bottle. So this is Isara. It's the only Ducita I have a full bottle of. I thought about getting a full bottle of Oud Infini now that it's officially discontinued, but you know, it's going to be on the list as well, but it's a discovery atomizer. But this is green, spicy. It's got herbs and green pine with tonka bean, clary sage, bourbon vetiver, Scots pine needle, musk, oak moss, and ambergris. And really nice fragrance to wear in the fall. I don't know if I needed a full bottle, but I bought one. And then we've got number 47. Now, 47 is a little bit of a surprise for me in the sense that I bought it because it was an older mall and I got a respectable price on it, okay? And when I ended up getting it in, I had almost zero expectations. Excuse me whilst I hydrate. So, it's called Lipstick Rose. There's no cap, but if there was a cap, it would be a matte cap. And you can tell it's one of the older bottles because of the way that just the whole label is kind of a giveaway here. The 12.5% PV alcohol volume, 96 proof kind of gives it away. But even the back, you can see it's one of the older malls. This is actually, I think, the very first version. And so this is called Lipstick Rose. And Lipstick Rose is a creation by Ralph Schwiga. And Ralph Schwiga's done a couple other things that I like. He did The Afternoon of a Fawn for Eldo. But I kind of just bought this because I've been on this hunt of lately collecting vintage malls, okay? Because I bought Noir Peace and I was extrememely disappointed. Very disappointed by the new formulation. I bought the vintage, I loved it. So I was like, you know what? Maybe there is something to this mall Estee Lauder reformulation stuff. I was taking it very easy on Frederick Mall. Not anymore. So now I got the vintage and I was like, wow, this is unbelievably good. It's floral. It's powdery. It has this cosmetic-y, makeup-y, almost like smeared makeup. Take makeup and just smear it on your face, you know? It's got that smeared type of cosmetic feeling. It's almost like as a guy, it's almost like you're smelling the lipstick of every hot chick you've ever wanted to just make out with. And that may sound piggish to a girl, but I'm just being honest. I mean, that's how it feels to me. It feels like you're smelling the red lipstick of, you know, every hot girl that you've ever seen just out and about that you're like, damn, I would love to kiss her. That's the way that it's very alluring, and shockingly, instantly one of my favorite rose fragrances. Instantly. I love this stuff. There's something so playful about it. I think it's the way that the violet interplays with the vanilla, rose, musk, and amber, but then there's a little bit of a twist because there's vetiver in here. Vetiver historically is a very masculine note, but it's very intelligently dosed here. So Lipstick Rose, shocker for me how much I like this, comes in at number 47. Number 46, and again, when I'm ranking these, a lot of times I'm ranking them on the musk content and how prominent the musk is. So the further we go into this countdown, the more and more the musk is going to play a prominent role to my nose. Now, these are just my opinions. You may say, hey, I think this one has more musk than that one, and you know, you'll never be able to agree on a list this large, but just kind of, these are good guidelines, good ballpark figures. Number 46 is a new Serge Lutens to my collection, but I'm really liking this. Again, another one I wasn't really expecting to like. This is from one of my benefactors, one of my perfume friends, who reached out and sent me I did an entire haul called the Huge Serge Lutens Unboxing. You can go check that out. It's a live stream. And this one's called Cedar. I guess it's pronounced Cedra. And Cedra came out in 2005. It's woody, it's spicy, it's got amber, clove, musk, tuberose, cedarwood, and cinnamon. And so the thing that scared me was the tuberose. I was like, I never bought this fragrance because of the tuberose note. However, here, even though it is prominent, there is something about the way, and the tuberose can come across slightly green as well. It has those camphoraceous type notes that you'll kind of pick up. But what you'll really notice is the way that the cinnamon, clove, and cedarwood and amber kind of play together. If you like the way that the Woods are done in fragrances like Feminito du Bois, okay? Or even Serge Noir. I love the way that the woody notes are done in those fragrances. They're done very similar here. Classic Serge Lutens style. Beautiful fragrance. Really liking this so far. Again, it's a new fragrance to my collection, but I'm really liking it. So Cedar comes in at number 46. Number 45 is a Roja. First Roja on the list. And it is Fetish pour Homme Parfum. So Fetish is Roja's take on Bel Ami. But again, this is more, for me, this is much more of that leather accord with the incense. There's a lot of incense in here. There's elemi resin, incense, spices from cardamom, and it will remind you of Hermès Bel Ami. There's no doubt about it. It'll remind you of Pure Distance M, which, you know, will remind you of Bel Ami. And but what they've done here is they've kind of amped up the incense note. There is musk and vanilla and labdanum and all that good stuff in the base. But again, the reason that it's only at number 45 is because the musk takes a back seat to me to that leather note, and of course the incense, the elemi. And it's warm. It's just an amazing fragrance to wear on a cool day. I love this stuff. Love, 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 love Fetish pour Homme. But again, I've said this before. I said it on my live yesterday too. If you're gonna blind buy stuff or buy stuff based on a reviewer's taste or based on someone like me that just gets on here and just spouts, you know, whatever pops in my head, you should know their taste. For my taste, leather is an easy sell for me. If you don't like leather, you may not like some of my all-time favorites like Fetish pour Homme. Okay, next is number 44, and we're back to Serge Lutens, and this is Feminito du Bois. I mentioned it earlier. One of the best woody fragrances ever, in my opinion, of all time. Changed the game, you know, creating a woody fragrance for women. Initially, the Shiseido version was feminine targeted. Now, the Serge Lutens version, which they came out with in 2009, is completely unisex. Woody, spicy, or they released it as a unisex fragrance, I should say. It's woody, spicy. It's got beeswax, clove, honey, cardamom, musk, orange blossom, peach, plum, rose, vanilla, violet, ylang-ylang, cedar, and cinnamon. So you notice the notes again. You've got cedar, you've got cinnamon, you've got musk. So you have a lot of similar notes to Cedar, but you have the beeswax, you have the plum, you have the peach. So you've got some things here that kind of take it in a little different direction. And so I feel like Serge Lutens has kind of riffed on this DNA on a couple different fragrances now. Cedar is one of them. Serge Noir is another. Serge Noir added much more incense, made the woods feel more charred. But I love the way Serge Lutens does that cedar note, that woody cedar note. It's one of the best in the game, in my opinion. Okay, number 43. We're not in the 20s yet, Ramsey. Number 43, and we're back to a Chanel. I know I talked about Allure, Homme Sport, Eau Extrême earlier. Now we are on to Chanel Coromandel. Now, this is the Eau de Parfum. I would love to try the Eau de Toilette one day, but I've never smelled it. Chanel Coromandel is earthy, woody, amazing patchouli. Smells like kind of the continuation of Serge Lutens' Borneo 1834. They're both Christopher Sheldrake kind of creations, if you will. This also has Jacques Polge added on the list. Bitter orange, neroli, citrus fruits, orris root, jasmine, patchouli, rose, benzoin, woods, musk, vanilla, frankincense, amber, and white chocolate. So the musk is in the base, but you know that earthy patchouli is a big part of Coromandel. Beautiful fragrance though. I really love it, but I'd love to try the EDT. I hear the EDT is even better. Okay, number 42. Number 42 is going to be the only full bottle of Zoologist that I own, and this is called Moth. And Moth is an amazing fragrance by an amazing perfumer who doesn't get hardly any love in the community. Inaba Tamu is his name. And Inaba Tamu is a Japanese perfumer, I believe. I think he's a Japanese perfumer. And he also made Zoologist Nightingale, which I really liked. And I know Margie, Margie Noir. I was going to say her name, but maybe a lot of people don't actually know her name, so I'll leave that out now that she's officially Margie Noir. Margie Noir actually bought Nightingale off of, the live stream and the blind testing that I did, and she reported back that it was a beautiful buy, and she was so happy with it. And this guy, this Anaba Tamu guy, is very attention to detail oriented. You can tell the work he puts into his compositions. They never feel rushed. They always feel so just full with notes and transitions and changes. And he's just a beautiful perfumer. Deserves much more love, I think, than what he gets in the community. But Moth is spicy. It opens up with a lot of spices. Then it kind of switches to this floral, almost like you're smelling a Guerlain. And then it switches again. And it dries down to this more modern oud, nagamatha, smoky, honeyed, resinous dry down. It's an amazing creation. Zoologist Moth. One of their, if you like art in a bottle, if you wear perfume for art, this is one you have to get your nose on. Moth is amazing, and I love the story behind it. Okay, next on the list, we've got number 41. Number 41 is a Cologne, and if you want this fragrance, I'm going to urge you to buy this particular bottle because I have the new bottle, and it's not to my taste. I feel like this is different. Some people have told me that the reason this is different is because they added some animalics. This is an 80s bottle, 70s or 80s bottle, I've been told. And because of that fact, they added some animalics. And because of the animalics, that's the reason I like it more. I don't know if that's true or not. But at number 41s, we have Cologne pour un homme. Probably one of the best. I know I mentioned my scent of the day today, version Originale from Jean-Marc Sinan. Jean-Marc Sinan as one of my favorite lavenders, and it is. This is probably one of my other favorite lavenders. In fact, the house of Celine released a fragrance that smells very similar to this at 10 times the price or whatever. It is ridiculous stuff. But this is basically lavender, absolute lavender with vanilla, amber, and musk. Very simple fragrance. Came out in 1934, marketed towards men. And you can see what a lot of lavender does to a fragrance. It doesn't turn it purple. People think lavender turns a fragrance purple. It doesn't. It actually turns it green. And so it is spicy, herbal, green. The vanilla is beautiful in this bottle, and I like the animalic touches wherever they're coming from, whether they added a little civet, whether the musk is animalic, I don't know what it is, but this is so much deeper and smoother and so much better than my modern bottle. And don't tell me I have to get air in the bottle, because I didn't have to get air in this bottle and it came out stunning. And so I've gotten air in the bottle. I've tried the other one again. It's still shite. I don't like the new one. Okay, next on the list, we've got number 40. And number 40 is a all-time classic, my old man's signature scent. For as long as I've been alive, he's worn this. It's a very personal fragrance to me, but I love wearing it as well. It is Paco Rabanne's Pour Homme, and if you can find these older bottles with the raised R, I'm telling you, the depth is so much better. It's so much more than just a clean soap when you get these older bottles. The newer ones are much more on the clean side, and this still has a little bit of this high-end soap feeling, but you get more of the herbs, you get more rosemary, you get more rosewood, you get more animalic honey in the dry down. But this is a green, spicy fougere through and through, just a masculine scent. I absolutely love this. One of my favorite scents from the 70s, one of my favorite scents of all time, Paco Rabanne Pour Homme, 1973. At number 40. Number 39 is the first amouage in this list, and there's a couple of them, but this is Memoir Man. And you can see the dent I put in this tester bottle. And I'm very glad to have this because, these old amouages are getting harder and harder to come by. This is definitely legit. It's not, I got very lucky buying this tester. And you can kind of see on the back, tester, not for sale. But it doesn't have a cap, and it doesn't have the little magnetic piece around it where the cap could even go. So it kind of stands out in my collection as the only amouage without a cap. But I don't care because I buy it for the juice. Sometimes you have to sacrifice a cap. And so Memoir Man is a Karine Vinchon Spenner creation. She's done so many amazing fragrances for amouage. And I think this was her first actually in 2010. Woody, spicy, get green absinthe, basil, tarragon, mint. It's like walking through a psychedelic forest is what it feels like. You get lavender, you get frankincense, rose, amber, oak moss, guyakwood, leather, musk, sandalwood, tobacco, vanilla, and vetiver. And again, if you like wearing fragrances that tell a story, that's art in a bottle. This may be challenging to wear for some, but I'll tell you what, the sandalwood, tobacco, musky dry down is one of the best that I've smelled. I love the whole fragrance from top to bottom. They spent so much time on this. This is 2010, and I will be very sad when this bottle is gone. You can see my juice is a little bit right above kind of the logo. So yes, I put a hell of a dent. This is my dent. I put this dent in here. I did not buy a partial. So yes, Memoir Man, one of my all-time favorites at number 39. Number 38 is a Rogue Perfumery fragrance that I kind of struggle with. Actually, there's a fragrance I smelled yesterday from the house of Allure, and it was called Desired. If you go watch my live stream, one of the commenters, GMG, was saying that Desired smells a little bit like an Initio fragrance, kind of in disguise, if you will. And I know what he means by that because of all of these big, there was a lot of saffron. There was a lot of like this Middle Eastern style, rose oud thing going on. And it was okay. I didn't hate it as much as I hate most Initio fragrances, but this kind of falls into that category, but done by a true indie house. It's oriental, it's resinous, it's got that same big saffron hit with vanilla, and it's also very sweet to start. The sweetness kind of goes down as time goes on, but this is called Dervish. And Dervish is a oriental resinous take on a animalic tobacco with leather. And it's that, just smelling it from the atomizer, my head's hurting already. It's so sweet and resinous, and I struggle to wear this. Even though I like the perfume, I struggle to wear it. It's too sweet for me. But there is civet, there's leather, there's labdanum, there's things I like. There's musk, there's jasmine. The jasmine might be what's getting me. But yes, I mean, if he remade this and toned the sweetness down, I think it would be a banger. Dervish at number 38. Number 37 is a Sauvage, Eau Sauvage, actually, by Dior. Eau Sauvage from 1966. There is a lot of musks in here in the base. It kind of feels like it dries down to this oak moss musk vetiver thing, but it's all about the herbs and citrusy freshness in the opening. This is an Edmund Rudnitska, probably one of my least favorite Edmund Rudnitskas, although I would love to smell a true vintage. This is an older bottle. This bottle is a 2003 bottle, so it is older. It's just not real. I mean, this is from 1966. There's some old bottles floating around out there, but since it's a citrus-heavy fragrance, that bothers me a little bit. You don't know what you're really going to get. Citrus-heavy fragrances turn very quickly. And it's basil, bergamot, fruity notes, cumin, rosemary, lemon, lavender, carnation, orris root, jasmine, coriander, patchouli, rose, sandalwood, amber, oak moss, musk, and vetiver. And so Eau Sauvage, Eau de Toilette, comes in at number 37. Number 36, back to another amouage, and this is the rose-heavy amouage. This is Lyric Man. And Lyric Man is probably one of my favorite rose fragrances of all time, but it took a while to get there. At first, I hated it. This really had to grow on me. It's floral, it's spicy, it's that fresh, I think it's the fresh rose that gets people because there's this level of freshness with the rose. Most masculine roses are heavy and animalic, like think of Aramis 900 or Azzaro Actor or something like that, right? This is the opposite of that. This is kind of fresh. There's an element of the freshness to this rose, which you usually smell in women's rose fragrances. But it's mixed with bergamot and lime. And so you get lime, angelica, galbanum, so it's green, with the rose, the freshness of ginger again, nutmeg, orange blossom, which also adds this, laundered, fresh sheets, kind of laundered laundry feeling with the rose, fresh rose, with the saffron, which adds a little bit of that. The saffron gives it that reddish color to me with musk, pine, sandalwood, vanilla, and frankincense. It was done by Danielle Vicentin, and beautiful fragrance. But yes, Lyric Man. It's a good one. It's just you have to, as a Western man not used to wearing rose, you're going to have to give your nose some time to adjust. Okay, next on the list, we have number 35. Number 35 is a Bruno Jovanovic creation, and it's called Monsieur by Frederick Malle. It's actually the first fragrance that came about when Estee Lauder purchased Frederick Malle. And Monsieur is, in a nutshell, Monsieur is a gigantic, earthy, patchouli, old school masculine, modernized with notes like tangerine and rum. And rum gives it this modern feeling because it's boozy. The tangerine is actually one of the saviors of this scent. I think without the tangerine, it would all fall apart. And musk and vanilla, amber, frankincense. It is incensey, definitely incensey, and cedar, but the patchouli is the star of the show. Apparently, the patchouli here is based at something like 50% concentration of patchouli, which is almost unheard of. They use that molecular distillation to kind of take out the bad parts of the patchouli that they don't like. And it's otherwise, if you had 50% patchouli, I mean, it would overwhelm you. It would smell like a fragrance from the olden days, which I don't necessarily mind, but I don't think it would sell in a Frederick Malle bottle. Okay, number 34 is a Francesca Bianchi, and it is called Etruscan Water. It's the only bottle of Francesca Bianchi that I own, and Etruscan Water is a fragrance that kind of let me down a little bit. I heard it was a Chypre, and I just ran out and bought it. I love Chypres. And 2019, this came out. Bergamot, green mandarin orange, petit grand, grapefruit, basil, caraway, immortelle. I do like immortelle. Ambergris, musk, labdanum, orris root. She always throws that orris butter, orris root in there. Jasmine, oak moss, and vetiver. Kind of, I would say, one of the safer Francesca Bianchi creations. I think now that I've kind of tested more from the line, I would probably go for something like Under My Skin or something like that. But this is still okay. I mean, I like it. I don't necessarily love it, but I like it. You know, if I'm going to wear a Chypre like this, I'd rather just reach for Diaghilev or Mitsuko or something like that, personally. But Etruscan Water's not bad, but not bad doesn't really move me anymore. But there is that big musk note that starts to come forward. Speaking of Diaghilev, at number 33, we have Diaghilev. Diaghilev comes in at number 33, and it is probably one of my favorite Chypres of all time. There's just something special about the way that it wears on my skin. And I know it's kind of borrowed elements from the great Chypres, and I completely understand that. It's, you know, it's a little bit Mitsuko, it's a little bit Rochas Femme, it's a little bit Azure by Estee Lauder. I swear I could just smell the cap. I can just smell the cap all day. It's that kind of fragrance for me. It's so special. And you know, it's the obviously there's musk in the base, but there's a million notes in here. Couldn't even begin to read the note listing off. It's huge. But just know it's a big, the way that Roja describes it is a big Baroque Chypre, and that's very true, and that's all the juice I have left, which is kind of painful, but I do have a big collection, so, you know, I can always just wear something else, but I would love a vintage bottle of that. I just don't want to pay the money for it. Go figure. Okay, so that was number 33. Number 32 is actually going to be kind of a double header, if you will. It's going to be YSL's M7 and the original, and it's going to be YSL's M7 Oud Absolute. They both could kind of go at number 32. They both have musk in them. The original was bergamot, mandarin orange, rosemary, oud, vetiver, mandragora, amber, and musk. And the Oud Absolute added a couple notes, like for example, they add patchouli. There's no patchouli in M7, which makes sense. I mean, you know, patchouli, patchoulol is constantly used as a oud kind of feel sometimes, depending on how it's used. With cistus, there's no cistus labdanum in the original M7, and myrrh. There's no myrrh in the original M7. So they've tweaked it a little bit, but I think they're both good fragrances. This is the reason I don't have a backup of this. I enjoy wearing them both. It's described by many as kind of the first designer fragrance to use oud, but I've talked a couple times that that's actually not true. There was some people claim Balenciaga Pour Homme had oud in it from 1990. Some people claim that Kriegler's Oud for Highness, which was created for King Hussein of Jordan in 1975, was the very first. But they didn't release it till 2010, but they created it for him in 1975 when he gave a speech at the UN. Anyways, number 31 is an Amouage again, and we're back to Jubilation 25 for men. What a fragrance this is. I'm so glad to have this bottle. I would love a vintage, you know, non-magnetic cap, but they're so expensive and hard to come by. I'm just happy with what I have. I mean, Jubilation 25 is a masterpiece for me. It's that blackberry with labdanum, Divana. Of course, it's Bertrand Duchefort. Of course, there's going to be Divana. Frankincense, coriander, orange, clove, guyakwood, honey, laurel, orchid, rose, celery seed, cinnamon, ambergris, immortelle, moss, musk, myrrh, apopanax, oud, patchouli, and atlas cedar. Jubilation 25. Again, this is my dent in the bottle. I wear the piss out of this. I love it. Oh, it's so good. I just wish that I had a vintage backup, but I'm not going to pay the money for it. Jubilation 25, number 31. Number 30 is an MDCI, and it is Invasion Barbar. And what a fragrance this is. This is so smooth. This has really grown on me the more I've worn it. At first, I kind of felt the same way that Eugene feels with Invasion Barbar. He says that it is too smooth. It's almost too smooth, you know? Like, it all just kind of blends together into one big feeling, one big note, like a one-note fragrance, because everything just blends together so smooth. But this has really grown on me. The violet leaf gives it a little bit of this, you know, a little bit of this bad boy vibe. But the lavender, white thyme, and the musk and the bourbon vanilla and the patchouli just kind of add this old school, kind of a classic barbershop feel, if you will. Again, I don't have a bottle. I've got a big decant, and you can see I've given it a fair amount of wear, but I like it. I like Invasion Barbar. It's good. When I get a bottle, I'd probably go for Chypre Palatin first, but it is good. Okay. Next on the list is number 29, and it's a Rogue Perfumery, and this is Mousse Illuminée. Now, Mousse Illuminée is a fragrance that actually has an oak moss, a lichen, an oak moss on the front of the bottle. And Mousse Illuminée is frankincense, bay leaf, tree moss, cypress, artemisia, cedar, white blossoms, and white musk. And originally, Rogue Perfumery was made, and I really... you know, I'm not going to go to war with Manny Cross or anything, but originally the whole point of this line, this entire perfume house, was that they are a rogue house. They don't follow IFRA, that they go their own way, and if they want to put a giant slug of oak moss in there, well, guess what? That's what they're going to do. And they'll just be non-IFRA compliant. And then all of a sudden, it started to be, well, technically, we have always been IFRA compliant. We just never said we were. And then all of a sudden you notice the juice color started to get lighter and didn't look like they were putting as much oak moss in here. And, you know, it's a lot of things. I won't buy any new Rogue creations, I don't think. I'm sticking with the ones I have. I have the ones I want, and that's pretty much it. I have some samples of some of the other ones we'll talk about at some point in the future, but this is one of the ones that I have a full bottle of that I will wear and enjoy. It's a fantastic, fresh, shaved fragrance because the white musk and it almost adds like this fluffy, the big amount of oak moss in here almost makes it like, you know, when you like go to a barber and they whip up the shaving cream for you and it kind of fluffs up, you know what I mean? And they put it on your face. Have you ever been to a real barber? That's the texture of this fragrance. It's very fluffy, but it also has weight to it. You know, it's almost like in Super Mario Brothers when you could jump on the cloud, right? And the cloud holds Mario. that's the feeling of Mousse Illuminé. I know that's kind of a childish reference, but it's the only thing I could think of at the time. So yes, it's kind of this, it's a interesting fragrance. I really like it. Beautiful in the heat. Okay, next on the list is number 28, and this is a fragrance that really surprised me. I bought this recently. Again, it's a vintage pre-Estee Lauder bottle of Frederic Malle, and that's the ones that I'm going for. I would still love a pre-Estee Lauder bottle of the night, and I would also love a pre-Estee Lauder bottle of Portrait of a Lady, but I can wish in one hand and crap in the other and see which one gets filled first. This is Lodi Ver. Jean-Claude Ellena's Lodi Ver, which is inspired by... it is very, very good. Lodi Ver is inspired by the great Guerlain Après L'Onde, and it kind of inspired him to compose this Lodi Ver creation for Malle, which is this interplay of anisic aldehydes, which was first used in Après L'Onde. And so this vanilla-like smelling heliotropin and orris, which is beautiful. There's this airiness, there's this transparent quality to the fragrance, and yet, you know, it still has that sponginess from the heliotrope that, you know, almost like they took a mold of your teeth. Angelica, bergamot, hawthorn, honey, iris, jasmine, caramel, musk, and carnation, and completely unisex. I think this smells amazing on my skin, but I think it would also smell amazing on a woman. Okay, next on the list we have a Creed, and again, you could probably put a million Creeds on there, but when I think of musk and Creed, there's a couple of them that come to mind. This is one of them. It's Himalaya, and this is unfortunately one of their new 100 ml bottles from 2017. I won't buy any of their new stuff. This is the bottle that taught me the lesson. I will not buy another new Creed because I had a 120 ml of this, and it smelled heavenly in the opening. Absolutely heavenly. Almost like reminded me of being a little kid going to Catholic church. There was something that reminded me of that, and it's missing from here. Doesn't have that sparkly opening. Bergamot, grapefruit, mandarin orange, lemon, pink pepper, nutmeg, cedarwood, sandalwood, gunpowder. There's a gunpowder note in here. Vetiver, pepper, ambergris, musk, and tonka bean. It's still a good fragrance. It's just not what it was, is the problem. If you didn't know what it was, you'd love it. And then at number 20, that was number 27. Number 26 is Back to Serge Luton. This is Nuit de Cellophane. This is another new bottle in my collection that was sent to me by my Serge Luton friend. And Nuit de Cellophane is floral, fruity, honeyed, a little bit of sweetness. The osmanthus in here adds that apricot-y, nectarine-like vibe. There's carnation, there's musk, there's almond, there's lily, there's fruits, there's honey, there's woods, there's green touches, there's jasmine. It's actually a really beautiful fragrance, and I have to get to know it still. It's a Christopher Sheldrake, but I have no doubt that that this will go from a like to a love at some point. I just have to kind of spend some more time with it. But the musk seems pretty prominent. That's why it ended up at number 26. Number 25 is a Lalique fragrance. It's the only Lalique fragrance on the list, I believe. And this is the great Encre Noir, one of the best value for money fragrances you can buy. What a fragrance. I love wearing Encre Noir. Oh, it's just a brilliant composition. Lots of cashmeran in here. It's a Nathalie Lorson creation. There's a bunch of vetiver acetate in the top with cypress, bourbon vetiver, Haitian vetiver, cashmere woods, and musk. And it has that Nathalie Lorson, you know, musky dry down that she does so well. Earthy, woody, smoky, spicy, green, musky. Just a beautiful fragrance. Encre Noir translates to black ink, and you can see it almost looks like one of those old school black ink bottles they would dip the pen in, the quill in back in the day. So Encre Noir comes in at number 25. Number 24 is a Helmut Lang, and this is called Helmut Lang Eau de Cologne. So this is discontinued, okay? And this is a very clean, easy to wear white musk. At the risk of being too frank, the founder, Helmut Lang, said that he wanted this fragrance to smell like his bed sheets after he and his partner got done having sex. Okay, so you can kind of get an idea of the vibe that he was going for. Maybe there were some fluids left on the sheet afterwards, right? And that's kind of the feeling of this fresh white sheets. And this was made by Maurice Roussel, by the way. And Maurice Roussel is a master of these musks. And we'll see more Maurice Roussel fragrances now that we're in the top 24. He, there's a lot of musks that he uses that find themselves high in this list because he overdoses them. He uses them in big quantities in his fragrances. So Helmut Lang, Eau de Cologne, lavender, rosemary, heliotrope, jasmine, lily of the valley, rose, musk, patchouli, sandalwood, and cedar. And it does have that clean sheet vibe. I won't comment on the rest, but it does have that clean sheet vibe. Okay, so next is number 23. And I don't talk about this fragrance a lot, mostly because and this is a vintage bottle. I think Anoush found this for me. It is Paul Sebastian Fine Cologne. And Paul Sebastian Fine Cologne comes in at number 23. And, the reason that I don't talk about Paul Sebastian Fine Cologne is that there is an element to the muskiness here that puts me off, and I'm not 100% sure what it is yet. I haven't really figured it out. It's spicy, there's lavender, there's sage, there's mugwort, there's musk, there's myrrh, there's patchouli, there's sandalwood, and vanilla. And there's just something about the way that the fragrance tends to kind of come together that kind of puts me off. It almost feels like, even though there's no yellow floral listed, I almost get this big yellow floral vibe, almost like a giant ylang-ylang just attacking me in Paul Sebastian Fine Cologne. And I don't like it. I don't like that at all. Some people may love it, but it kind of puts me off a little bit. It's like a yellow floral musk. Even though there's no yellow floral listed. I haven't gotten to the bottom of the mystery yet, but Paul Sebastian Fine Cologne doesn't get talked about much on my channel for that reason, but it definitely deserves to be high on the Musk ranked video list. Okay, number 22 is a fragrance that has the name Iris in it, but I think it's actually opens up extremely musky, at least on my skin. I noticed it. It was one of the original releases from the House of Frederic Malle, and it's called Iris Poudre. And Iris Poudre is a Pierre Bourdon creation. And you can see I've got two of these to discuss on the channel. And so Iris Poudre is bergamot, carnation, orange, rosewood, ylang-ylang, aldehydes, jasmine, magnolia, lily of the valley, violetta rose, amber, ebony, iris, musk, sandalwood, and vanilla. And I think the fragrance gets better as it dries down. I think if you spray it and just sniff it, you won't like Iris Poudre. It's a pretty big fragrance, very floral. Powdery aspects will get you kind of in the opening, but I like what it dries down to. Once it brings in more of the woods, and it's a good fragrance. It's just, I think it's a little bit misunderstood, and I think it's complex. So Iris Poudre comes in at number 22. Number 21 is a Jean-Claude Elena creation, and it's my favorite from this line, this Hermesons line, and this is called Cuir d'Ange, and this deserves a lot more love than what it gets. They just released a fragrance called Violet, I can't remember the name. I bet I could look it up, but it's like Violet Volienka or something. But this is much more to my taste, apparently. It's basically, it's leather with the note of hawthorn, which hawthorn can sometimes come off as being this, can come off as giving off this kind of white feeling. He actually used hawthorn, Jean-Claude Elena used hawthorn in Lodi Ver. Okay, so he's got some experience with the note of hawthorn, and it's a beautiful note, but it makes the leather here. Look at the color of the juice. Imagine like a tan or a white purse, right? And that's what you're feeling and smelling, but you're also smelling ambrette seeds with heliotrope, violet, iris, narcissus, musk, and leather. So it's leather with hawthorn and all those other notes that I just mentioned. And the one note that is not listed in any of the databases that I get in spades in the opening is the cumin. It's almost like a homage. Again, Jean-Claude Elena did it with Cartier's Declaration. He did it again here. It's almost like this homage to Eau de Hermes, to the master Edmund Rudnitska, like a salute, you know? Credange, just, I don't think I'll find one from the Hermeson's line that I like more than this. This is my taste through and through. Okay, next on the list, we've got a Dusita fragrance. That was number 21, so this is number 20. And this is called Dusita's Oud Infini. Now, Oud Infini is discontinued, unfortunately. I probably should have scooped up a bottle while I could, but, you know, you can't own everything. And I still have a pretty decent amount of juice here. Beautiful, beautiful colored juice. You know, it is, Oud Infini is where it's at. It's at number 20 because everyone talks about the civet and everyone talks about the real Laotian oud, but very few people talk about the musk. And there's a lot of musk that hits you in the opening of Oud Infini. You get how just musky and animalic and floral it feels. There's May Rose, there's Tunisian Orange Blossom, there's Benzoin Siam, there's real Mysore Sandalwood that she claims, and there's Bourbon Vanilla Absolute and Musk. And the muskiness plays a very big part in this. She claims to use real oud, but she does not claim to use real musk. And so that's why it is on this video and not the one from yesterday. So, Oud Infini, I'll do a full review before this decant is gone. I promise you, comes in at number 20. Number 19 is a Coty fragrance. And yes, this is very musky. And yes, it's literally called Coty's Musk for Men. Cologne spray. And how 70s is this presentation? Look at this. If that's not a no fucking around 70s presentation, I don't know what is. And this is just basically powdery musk with woody notes and lemons. So it's amber, woody notes, musk, and lemon. And it's very 70s smelling. Kind of like this animalic, oriental, powdery, you know, masculine thing that no one talks about because it's like $7. But it's a good musky fragrance, I think, for what it is. And this is actually officially discontinued now. So if you can find this for $5 or $6 or $7 like I did, scoop it up because they're not making Coty's Musk anymore. Okay, excuse me. Next on the list, we have number 18. And number 18 is a Bulgari fragrance. And this is called Falkar. Now, Falkar is a... it's really the only one from the line that I was interested in, and it's the only one from the line that I own. And I own it thanks to a friend, you know, a perfume friend basically gave me a very fair price on this. They probably could have marked it up an extra $100, but they were very fair to me. And Falkar is a creation by Jacques Cavalier, who does all of the Louis Vuitton fragrances now. And these bottles seem really cheap when you look at them. Like the plastic here seems cheap. It feels kind of cheap, you know. This plastic, it's like plastic right here. Okay, it all feels cheap, but this actually kind of feels cool. This little bit feels better in the hand than it does looking at it on the screen. But Bulgari's Falkar is basically a woody, leathery fragrance with those LVMH style, you know, musk. If they say it's black musk, which I'm sure is some type of musk that someone knows about. I can't say I, you know, and if it is black musk, I'm sure LVMH is not using real black musk in here, but it's black musk, saffron, leather, and Bangladeshian oud. Okay, so take for that what you will. But yeah, if you can get it kind of for what I got it for a couple $100, I think it's a good deal. Don't pay $350 or $400 for this. It's not worth it. Once you get into that category, you can just start buying Originale Dorés. Okay. Next on the list, we have another Maurice Roussel creation, and this time it's for Rochas. And this is Rochas Man, everyone's favorite bottle. Crack all the jokes you want with it. Rochas Man is kind of a clone, or actually, I shouldn't say Rochas Man is a clone. I should say that Bond number 9, New Harlem, took a lot of influence from Rochas Man, because this actually came first, if memory serves. But it's kind of this gourmand type fragrance that was very popular back in the day. You know, it came out in 1999. And if you know what came out in the 1990s, that was gourmand for men, that was very popular. Thierry Mugler's Amen. You'll kind of have an idea. This is lavender, bergamot, there's green touches, there's jasmine, there's lily of the valley, there's musk, there's raspberry, there's amber, there's coffee. Again, Amen had coffee. There's sandalwood, there's vanilla, and patchouli. And it feels kind of like Rochas getting into the gourmand game, if you will. Yes, it's sweet, but I don't mind this. I like this, and it's the reason I never hunted down a bottle of... I never hunted down a bottle of Bond number 9's New Harlem. Now, I would love to own a bottle of New Harlem. If I can get it for $100, the vintage, I would go for it. But other than that, I'm out. I'll use my Rochas Man if I ever get in the need, in the urge to wear this type of fragrance, or Amen by Thierry Mugler. So number 16 on the list. Now, this might surprise you guys a little bit, but there's a story behind this, okay? And the story is that this is Creed Aventus. Now, all Creeds kind of have this musky feel to them. This is a 2015 bottle that I've put a hell of a dent in. And yes, I put that dent in it. Now, to be fair, I do spray my Aventus with reckless abandon. But it's because I have like 3 backup bottles, all from before 2017. And I feel like I need to use it before it turns on me. So, Aventus, the story is, in 2010, Olivier Creed approached Jean-Christophe Herault, who's in the book The Ghost Perfumer. And... basically, when he approached him, he had a thing of musk with him, and it was a new type of musk, okay? And he basically made the case that this musk smells so good that you could make a perfume out of it on its own. And it was one of the reasons that early on, now I'm talking before Creed cut their quality so much that the clones almost smell better than what the actual Creed Aventus smells like. But back in the day, 2010, 2011, 2012, 2013, 2014, the clones couldn't make an Aventus clone that smelled anywhere near what Aventus smelled like because of how expensive and exclusive that musk was. The musk was one of the hardest things for them to clone. And now they've figured out a way to do it, I think. And I think also between them figuring out a way to do it and Creed kind of, they're like this. They're kind of meeting and have the streams crossed. I don't know. I'll leave that to you. Needless to say, I won't buy any new Creed Aventus batches. Let's put it that way. But Creed Aventus is pineapple, lemon, pink pepper, apple, bergamot, blackcurrant, jasmine, Indian patchouli, birch, ambergris, cedarwood, oak moss, and musk. And it's the reason why it comes in at number 16. Number 15 is one of the best clean, dirty combinations of all time. One of my favorite fragrances of all time. Top 3 for sure. Where it sits in that top 3 depends on the day. But this is Koros. This is a Parfums Corp bottle of Koros. I've got like 5 of these bottles. Not this bottle, but 5 different Koroses. Because I never want to be without this fragrance. Oh, I love it. I sent some to a friend who turned around and sent me a bottle. And so there should be some unboxings coming very soon. But Koros is Pierre Bourdon's masterpiece, in my opinion. It's aldehydes, bergamot, tarragon, coriander, clary sage, carnation, geranium, orris root, jasmine, patchouli, vetiver, cinnamon, amber, oak moss, honey, leather, musk, tonka bean, vanilla, frankincense, civet. And of course, everyone knows about the civet. The animalis note, that Simrise animalis, or whatever it was called. Pierre Bourdon created this in 1981. And, it basically plays between this duality of animalic dirty, of clean dirty. That's kind of the dichotomy that Koros kind of plays with. Yes, it's dirty, but it also kind of smells clean. And, this fragrance is it's almost like a sniper, it just kind of touches a part of your brain that you don't really control. You know what I mean? It's very primal fragrance to me. That's the word that always comes to mind. When I smell Kouros, it smells primal, and I love it. And, you know, I know Pierre Bourdon's old man loved it too. He wore it as his scent as his signature scent. Kouros at number 15. Number 14 is a Roja, and this is called Musk Oud. So Musk Oud is basically a fragrance that I hate. And the reason I hate it is not because of the smell. The reason I hate it is it's because of one of the worst performing fragrances I've ever smelled. This thing lasts on my skin like 2 hours. And for 750 pounds or whatever the hell he sells these for nowadays, that is a travesty. And what makes it even more of a travesty is it's such a beautiful fragrance for 2 hours. Then it's gone. It's bergamot, lemon, may rose, jasmine from grass, ylang ylang, ambret, birch, oud, labdanum, leather, musk, nutmeg, oak moss, precious wood, sandalwood, tonka bean, vanilla, and patchouli. And so it's this woody oriental fragrance. And yes, I mean, musk oud is, you know, it's a beautiful smell in the beginning. You just have to kind of just walk around reapplying yourself all day, which for that kind of money is insanity. But it deserves a spot in the top musky fragrances at number 14. Number 13, and there's a huge musky smell to this. This is called Gold Man by Amouage. And this is a creation by the great Guy Robert. And Guy Robert took a lot of keys from some of the classics. Like, for example, he loved Arpege by Lanvin. I had some moron left me a comment on my Amouage ranked list about, can't believe how high I had Gold Man, the old woman smelling one. You all can go deride him if you would like, or her, whoever left me that comment. But just because you don't understand something does not make it right or wrong. This is all just kind of opinions. You know, everyone has an opinion, but once you get deeper into the hobby, you'll understand some of the stuff that you maybe thought was old lady smelling. And this is a just out and out masterpiece of sorts, I think. It's animalic, challenging to wear. It's got that dog rose, lily of the valley, frankincense, orris root, jasmine, myrrh, amber, oak moss, musk, patchouli, sandalwood, cedar, and civet. But it's an old school. It's an old school luxury, okay? This is Chanel number 5, Lanvin Arpege. It's those kind of fragrances, you know. My Sin. It's those vintage bottles from back in the day. And, you know, it may be tough for a modern nose to understand. They may lash out and say, oh, it's an old lady perfume, or whatever it may be. But once everything kind of clicks into place, you'll see just how beautiful this is. But it is very powdery, floral, and animalic. And my wife thinks it can smell like baby powder sometimes. So Gold Man at number 13. Number 12 is another Francis Kurkdjian creation and another discontinued one. We went through Gaultier Squared previously, and now we're going to do at number 12. We are going to do, actually, one of my favorite Francis Kurkdjian creations. This is Narciso Rodriguez for him, Eau de Toilette, discontinued, sadly. Came out in 2007. It's kind of like this spicy, floral, earthy petrichor thing, okay? So imagine wet concrete, right? You know, and musk overdose. The musk here is big musk. But he loves big musk. He loves using that big white musk. Lavender, pink pepper, violet, musk, amber, and patchouli. Maybe a little bit of violet leaf comes across too. You know, it has a little bit of that gasoline vibe sometimes, but very good fragrance for men. Very underrated. Sad it's discontinued, but glad that I have a bottle. Okay, next on the list is number 11, and this is like White Musk City, okay? This is straight from the year 2000. This is Burberry Touch for men. Is it long enough now where this is cool again? You know, because this used to be cool now, and then it became uncool. Is it kind of come back full circle? Burberry Touch is spicy, woody. It was created by Jean-Pierre Beathout from Firmenich. Divana, mandarin orange tree, violet leaf, nutmeg, white pepper, Virginia cedar, tonka bean, vetiver, and white musk. And that white musk note is almost like the star of the show here. It is very clean, very musky and easy to wear. I don't know how to describe this one. I got to really think about this because there's this 90s, 2000 freshness to it. But I like Burberry Touch for Men. It's good. It's good. The violet leaf makes it a little bit, but it's not like Fahrenheit's violet leaf. It's a little different take on it, but it's very fresh 90s, 2000, white musk. Very much so. And then, all right, we're getting into the big hitters. Top 10. Number 10 is going to be Lagerfeld Classique, or, if you will, Lagerfeld Cologne, which is probably the one that you want to get if you have a choice. Go for the one that says Cologne, Lagerfeld Cologne. Sadly, this is discontinued, but what a musky fragrance this is. It's spicy oriental. It's got this orange note, kind of like the color of the juice. This musky orange smell that runs right through the fragrance with tobacco. The older bottles, like the Lagerfeld Cologne, have much more tobacco in them, much more oak moss, much more of that 70s, 80s masculine that used to be in these fragrances. The new one just kind of smells like a more just powdery unisex oriental fragrance, if you will. Orangey oriental. It has all of the same facets, but it removes the animalic bits from the fragrance, if that makes sense. Okay, so Lagerfeld Cologne or Lagerfeld Classique at number 10. Number 9, and you guys might have thought this was going to be number 1, but for me it's number 9. And it is Musk's Kublai Khan by Serge Luton. And you know what? This is a good fragrance. I'm not bashing it, putting it at number 9. But for me personally, I have a hard time wearing this because I actually have some interesting scent associations with Musk's Kublai Khan. Ambrette, ambergris, castoreum, beeswax, costus root, caraway, labdanum musk, patchouli, rose, vanilla, and civet. It's the animalic musk of the bunch. Some people compare it to Kiehl's Original Musk. And some people compare it to, if you've ever smelled Marlou's Carnicure, you'll kind of get an idea of Musk's Kublai Khan, but Musk Kublai Khan is better than both of those in my opinion. So Musk Kublai Khan, number 9. Number 8 is going to be one of my favorite 80s fragrances of all time. It is the great Lapidus Pour Homme from 87. You talk about just a powerhouse of a fragrance. Pineapple, the original pineapple, Aventus over here in the corner, kind of being jealous of Lapidus Pour Homme. Lapidus Pour Homme is the OG pineapple with basil, tarragon, bergamot, juniper berry, lemon, lavender. I love the way that animalic honey is done here. Orris root, jasmine, caraway, lily of the valley, petitgrain, pine, rose, rosewood, amber, oak moss, musk, patchouli, sandalwood, tobacco, tonka bean, and cedar. And just, it has everything. And yet, it works. It's just, it almost makes me drool the way that the honey is done. It's so good. I love Lapidus Pour Homme. And the musk plays a big part. That's why it's number 8 on the list. Number 7, and again, another one you guys might have thought was number 1, but it's number 7. And actually the reason it's 7 and not lower is because it's the matte cap version. This is Musk Ravageur. Apparently there's a new Frederic Malle perfume coming out very soon called Ravageur. But Musk Ravageur, and this is good. I will say that. The original version is much more animalic. It's much more, the new one almost smells like a Cinnabon. You ever been to the airport or something and they have a Cinnabon and it just wafts down the hot aisle? The new one has much more of that sweet cinnamon vanilla thing. This is more, I think it's also more lavender. It's more lavender and musk and the animalic musk too, They don't play with these older bottles, but I still think it's a very easy wear. I don't think it's as tough to wear as some people make it out to be, but I really do like Musk Ravageur, and that's why it's at number 7, I will do a comparison video between vintage Musk Ravageur. I have a decant of the new stuff, so I'll do a comparison video. Number 6, you guys might be shocked at this, but there's a huge musk note in this. This is Jacques Bogart Furyo. It's furry, I'll tell you that. Furyo is furry. It's spicy, animalic. And you know, the fact that it adds a bit of muskiness to this is that there's ambrette seed in the top. So there's musk in the base, but there's ambrette seed in the top. And ambrette seed used to be used or is used as a musk replacement. So there's ambrette seed in the top with coriander, lavender, bergamot, green touches, carnation, geranium, jasmine, thyme, cinnamon, amber, oak moss, musk, patchouli, vanilla, vetiver, and civet. Huge civet, huge musk, huge carnation and geranium. And a lot of florals in here. Oh, but if you like, these two are kind of tied at the hip, okay? These two are kind of tied at the hip, and I love them. A lot of times I'll spray these before bed. I adore these type of fragrances, these animalic bombs. Oh, the good old days, baby. Number 5, musk, is going to be a Parfum d'Empire. And yes, it is the great Musk Tonkin. Musk Tonkin is a bit of a revelation for me. I will say I think it's one of the best just synthetic musk fragrances I've ever smelled. It is muscanone, which apparently muscanone is a fragrance ingredient that's produced by Fetish. Now, some people say muscanone is like a derivative of actual musk, but I don't know. It says it's a Fetish ingredient, so I'm including this in the synthetic musk category. But it does have muscanone in the eau de parfum. I don't know about the Extrême, but there's cistus, hyraceum, tuberose, frankincense, myrrh, sandalwood, and rose. And this stuff is a beast. Animalic floral beast of a fragrance. But I love it. Very glad to have the discontinued eau de parfum. And the newcomer to the list, shocking that I put it this high, but this is honestly where I feel it is. This is instantly skyrocketed to one of my favorite synthetic musk fragrances, and like that too. No messing around. This is I've worn this to bed a couple times now, and this is just amazing. This is called Claire de Musk by Serge Luton. Claire de Musk. And what a fragrance this is. Oh my God, there is this, again, a little bit like Koros. There's a little bit of this dichotomy between clean and dirty, okay? So they play with this clean, dirty thing. And this goes much more clean into the dry down, but there's always that shadow of dirtiness kind of lurking in the background. Claire de Musk is just basically musk. That's what it says. It says it's musk. And it's a brilliant musk fragrance. So, Serge Luton, Claire de Musk from 2003. Oh, wow. Just a powdery, floral, sweet, you know, musky fragrance. I love it. I love it. Number 3. And this may be cheating a little bit because I do have a vintage bottle, and I can tell you that this version, this particular version, is better than all the other ones I have. Even the one that I thought was the older version that said Calvin Klein Cosmetics Corp. This is even better, okay? This is the Cologne spray version of Obsession for Men. And the new one from whoever it is, L'Oreal, I don't know who owns Calvin Klein anymore. Whoever's making the new one, you know, if it's Coty or I don't know who it is, don't buy that. Don't buy the new one. The one that you want is the one that says Calvin Klein Cosmetics on the bottom. But even the one that says Eau de Toilette, I think, is a little bit less than this. This is a stunner of a musk fragrance from the 80s. Obsession for Men is... what a creation they made, though. Spicy, animalic, oriental with bergamot, grapefruit, coriander, lavender, lime, mandarin orange, and cinnamon in the top. Heart of jasmine, nutmeg, myrrh, clove, pine, rosewood, red berries, and sage in the heart. Base of amber, musk, patchouli, sandalwood, vanilla, and vetiver. And Bob Slattery is the perfumer. He also did Obsession for Women, which you could also say this could be Obsession for Men / for women. but I'm obsessed with this version. My obsession is this one, the Cologne spray. Again, I'll spray this before bed sometimes. It's so good, and that animalic musk just like reaches out and grabs you. What a fragrance. The top two, you guys may think cheating a little bit, but I have to put them here because they were my honorary mentions yesterday because I said they smelled so real. And they're not real musk, they're synthetic musks. But number one is Siberian Summer. Or number two is Siberian Summer. Siberian Summer from the house of Originale. This is camphor, bergamot, lime, birch tar, fir balsam, champaka, jasmine, and galbanum in the heart, with a base of Russian cedar resin, vanilla, vetiver, synthetic musk, amber resins, and oak moss. And this is a beautiful synthetic musk creation. Beautiful. Absolutely stunning. Almost became number one. The only reason it didn't is because I like the other one so much. If you like Papillon's Spell 125, that green ambergris thing, you would adore Siberian Summer. Such a hard fragrance to find. It's a little bit of a unicorn. I'm blessed to have the little couple of drops I have. But yes, Siberian Summer is stunning. Green, animalic, spicy, musky. Oh, so good. So good. Surprised me how much I like that. And finally, number one, and again, this was an honorary mention on yesterday's fragrance top 10 real musk video, but this is Antiquity by Originale. And Antiquity is my number one musk just because of the way it makes me feel with the leather. So this is leathery take on this vintage style. Everything's vintage. So if you take a look here, you've got peach aldehydes from 1930, bergamot from the 1940s to 1950s, and from 2019. So a blend of bergamots. Carnation from 1920 to 1930, Cambodian oud from 1975, Angelica root from 1930 to 1950, and patchouli from 1940 to 1950, base of Cuir de Russie accord from 1930 to 1950, muscatone from 1930 to 1950, patchouli from 1985 and 2017, amber resins, and oak moss. And that's the little, you can pause it and take a picture of that if you would like. But yes, I have to tell you that Antiquity is very, very true to my heart. I love it. I know I talked a little bit about muscatone. I think I talked a little bit about muscatone earlier. But yes, oh yeah, I was with Parfum d'Empire, right? Muscatone. Oh, what a fragrance though, man. What an absolute fragrance Antiquity is. So yes, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. It's a lot of work that goes into these. I know it's an hour and a half. We'll cut it short before the hour and a half mark. Do like the video if you like this kind of content, as it does help the video get passed along to other fragrance enthusiasts, you know, get recommended to people as they're viewing YouTube. And we want to bring more people that are like us into the community. That's important to us. So I really appreciate the support everyone's given me. You know, the community that we've built is really a beautiful thing. I'm so proud of how 99.9% of you guys handle yourselves. The 0.1% are always going to be there. But 99.9%, we have an amazing community. And I love the knowledge, the sharing, the you know, all of the stuff that you guys do. And thanks for joining and liking and subscribing and leaving comments. I love reading your comments. Do leave a comment below, even if it's just to say hi, that you were here, that you watched the video. I love seeing your faces in the comments, and you know, you'd be surprised how much back and forth happens in just the comment section. So let me know what your favorite musks are from the list. Let me know what your favorite synthetic musk fragrances are, period. If it's not on the list, I'd love to know what your favorites are, and I will hopefully see you very soon, either for another video or a live stream soon. Cheers, guys. Take care. Bye now.